Hey everybody, how you guys doing? I'm back. Hope everybody is having a blessed weekend, enjoying the rest of their Sunday. So I've been asked through the comments several times now to give my opinion of the egg theory. And today's video probably won't be that long, but it is going to be my opinion, okay? It's my opinion only. You guys have your opinions on it, and I'm just going to give you mine. So again, today's video is just going to be what you guys asked for, which is, again, I'm reading your comments, so I am listening to you guys. And first and foremost, I want to thank each and every one of you who have followed me through all my interviews when I first started out giving interviews with other channels, A Love Covered Life, Untethered Consciousness, Jeff Mara. A lot of you know me from Jeff Mara and have found me and have been following me since. I honestly did not expect this channel to grow. I really didn't. When I had my NDE and I had the thumb in my side, Father was like, come on, talk about this. I really didn't want to. I'm a deeply private man. I keep to myself, no friends, no family, other than my daughters. And my near-death experience was profoundly personal. It hit me on a level that I was not expecting at all. And again, it profoundly changed my life. So to put myself out there, to be as vulnerable and say things that nobody on this planet has ever known about me was brutally hard for me to do. Sorry about the candles in the back. It's really dark here in Wisconsin. It's rainy, overcast, cold. I really don't feel like turning on lights, so it's not something that I normally do. Even though I'm a candle man, I love candles. So bear with the candles today. Gives a little light back there, but I want to thank all of you guys for really following me. I did not expect this channel to grow. It was a message from the non-physical when I was off work for 4 or 5 months. And it was like, start your channel, So I did. And I really, in 2 months, did not expect any of this. I mean, I am just beyond blessed, truly am. And I have each and every one of you to thank for it. I'd say 90 to 95% of my comments and followers have been absolutely amazing and beautiful. There's always those that want to hate and, disregard and push off their church beliefs. And it's easily squashed. I read about 2 words, I can feel the energy, and the comment is hidden, and you're hidden from the channel and removed. You'll never be able to comment again. But like I said, I am truly blessed from each and every one of you. And I want to thank you. And I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. I hope you enjoy your time with your family and, your friends or whoever. I will be by myself as usual. I do not celebrate Christmas. I was going to do a Christmas video today. A couple people have asked me. They were like, Jason, I know you know the truth. I want the truth on Christmas. And it frankly will upset a great deal of you. Maybe after this video, after the holiday, we can put it out, but it will upset a lot of you. And I'm not afraid of that. I just want you all to enjoy your Christmas and spend time with your family, your children, and all those that you care and love about. So that's what I wanted to say first, is a big thank you to each and every one of you. I love you so very much. It is why I keep doing these videos, and I have branched out. So let's jump into it. Today is the topic of the egg theory and what is my opinion. And that's all it will be. So don't read into this other than it's my opinion, okay? So if memory serves me correctly, I really didn't do any research on this. I heard about it a few years ago after my near-death experience. Somebody mentioned it and I looked it up, but that's the extent of it. But from what I remember is that this gentleman, I think his name was Andy Weir or something like that, had a fatal car accident and dies, right? And he enters this dark space. We all know that as the void, okay? So he's in the void. And he comes across, he's like, where am I? And a voice answers him, well, you had an unexpected death, right? You died. And he says, who are you? Are you God? And this grayish, shadowy figure appears. Now, this is where I'm going to first disagree with you, or on this, but I'm not going to disagree with him because this is his near-death experience, okay? This is his death, and I do not dismiss it in any way, okay? I want you guys to understand that in every way possible. I do not dismiss it. Just like Howard Storm had his, others that have entered the void. God is love. God is light. God is energy. And when I mean a light, it's a light that you cannot possibly imagine, okay? You just cannot. So if he's in the void, he's, in my opinion now, he's not talking to God. God would show himself as an immense, beautiful white light, and he would be in his presence, but he's in the void. So he's talking to somebody or something, right? Or a figure that he calls God. And that is fine. I don't doubt that at all. But God is love and God is light. The light shatters the darkness. Period. End of subject. As dark as I was at my NDE, the light crushed it, the darkness that was within me. And I became one with the light. Okay? So as he's talking about God, and the egg theory is basically reincarnation, right? And God says, you died, you know? And he says, and the guy says, am I going to be reborn? When he's thinking in the, like the Hindus, or we do as Westerners right now, that when you reincarnate, you start over again, right? And that entity that he was talking to was like, nah, you're going to go back to like 520 or 540 AD as a Chinese peasant girl. And that just, I was like, wow. And I'll tell you why, wow. Because when you think of time, you think of it going this way, left to right. Here's the past, we're in the center, and here's the future, right? Well, that's not the case. Time goes like this. Everything is playing out right now, okay? So we'll use the term 100, or the number 100, not term, excuse me. Right now, if you think of 100 in your mind, there's 100 versions of you out in the universe right now, living a life. Some of those are past lives. You are caught up in the moment right here, which is our life right now, and future lives that you have planned, okay? They're all taking place right now. And some of you may have experienced deja vu, right? Where something just really creeped you out and like, I've done that before. Well, you just crossed paths or merged with one of your lives taking place somewhere across the universe. The event happened at the same time. You both felt the same thing, and the other version of you probably had the same experience of, wow, that was weird. Creep you out in a way. So that's what deja vu is. So when he's talking about, going into a past life, doesn't make sense to me. It just clearly doesn't. The reincarnation, yes. We're all going to start in a new life that we planned that is taking place at the very same time that I'm doing this video. 99 different versions of my soul is around the universe experiencing and living a life, past, now, and what we would call the future, because they don't exist, because everything is taking place right now. So when he's talking about reincarnation, 100% correct. And I think he asked, well, what is the purpose of reincarnating? And the shadowy figure, or God, explains, to learn, to grow, and to gain knowledge. And a lot of you are going to say, well, if we already know everything, why are we here? Well, that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. We don't know everything. All we know is love. It's like the description I gave in my NDE when I said, imagine the white room, right? You're in the most beautiful, brilliant white room you have ever been in. Ceiling, floor, the walls are white. You're in that room too, right? Which is, we'll just say heaven. And you're the same color white. How do you know you're white? You don't, because you don't have anything to contrast that to. You don't know what black, pink, purple, blue, and all that is. All you know is love, right? We come here to gain that knowledge. Some of those experiences we go through, we as, a humanoid species, because we're not, I am not a man. I am not a human. I'm experiencing a human life, but I am neither male or female. I'm genderless, as of all of you, right? So when this shadowy figure describes the purpose of coming down here to gain knowledge, he says, every time you wrong somebody or hurt somebody or say something bad, and it goes for praising somebody or loving somebody and giving somebody a good compliment, he says, you're doing that to yourself. And again, that is absolutely correct. As I am talking to you and you're all listening to me, I'm talking to myself, really, okay? Because when I said in my video, my NDE, I was one with everything, okay? I am you guys. Do you understand that? You are me. We are all one. We are all the same. We are no different from one another. Part of the illusion and part of the game is that we come down here to get lost. You're looking at me, Jason Janis, as a man. I am not a man, but that's how you are approaching me if you're a female. And if you're a guy, well, you're approaching me completely different, okay, as a vehicle-wise. So when he says you're wronging yourself, the shadowy figure says, that is absolutely correct, 100% correct, without hesitation or doubt. And I said that before. And that's how you manifest things, correct? And the shadowy figure goes on to say that, instead of the universe being our playground, he says we're actually in an egg, right? And you're an embryo. And while we're gaining all these knowledge through incarnations and all of this, we, at the end, become God, okay? And I've said that in my videos before. When I merged with myself in the light, I am all that I am you. I am a God. We're all gods, ladies and gentlemen. I think he just misconstrued what that figure was telling him, that you're a God, you're here to, you wanted to separate yourself from Father, from God, and have these experiences. Okay, that's fine. And as I told you before, once you fulfill your contract, that doesn't mean just this life. We're not going to reach Christ consciousness in one life. It's never going to happen. Like I said, I've died over 3,200 times, okay? Have I risen up the ladder quite a bit? Absolutely, okay? But I have a ways to go. You just know Jesus through his last incarnation when he achieved Christ consciousness, okay? He's done. He's never going to incarnate and have another physical life again. That doesn't mean that he's not down here in the physical realm every day, which he is, but the shadowy figure says that's what we're doing in this egg. We're nurturing, we're growing, we're expanding, we're gaining knowledge, and then one day, whoop, we're God. All right. Well, I just think he got that off a little. I think he just got himself confused, in my humble opinion, okay? Because in that moment of my NDE, I knew exactly who I was, where I came from, and all of the good stuff that we've talked about. The egg is the universe, basically, all right? And we're in the universe to gain the knowledge, to gain the powers that we've come to learn how to get a hold of in our physical manifestations here on Earth, okay? And while being here on Earth, we have chosen the most difficult place to incarnate. And if I remember correctly, there might be one or two other places that are much harder or a little bit harder. But Earth right now is the place to go to experience these things, because we can experience a multitude of knowledge in a lifetime. Some very pleasant things, and we all know some very unpleasant things. So when he's talking about the egg, he's talking about the universe, ladies and gentlemen, where we are gaining knowledge, where we are learning from our incarnations. But It's not to become God. We're already gods. And Jesus mentioned that in the Bible when he says, for which good works, am I to be stoned? For your good works not, but for blasphemy. You being a man, make yourself God, right? Because he said, I and the Father are one. Well, his reply to that, isn't it written in your law, I said you are gods? We're all gods, ladies and gentlemen. I think he just got that a little confused, because sometimes when you come back from an experience like that, now you're in a physical body. Now you're thinking with a physical mind. In the afterlife or in the non-physical, there is no mistaking anything, ladies and gentlemen. It's instant knowledge, instant knowledge. So whenever you have a divine experience and it comes through a human vehicle, such as mine, it's liable to get misconstrued, okay? And our language is very barbaric. It is very archaic and incapable of describing our experience in the non-physical. It simply cannot be done. There are no words in this language to describe what he felt and what he was experiencing, which I don't doubt any bit of it at all. So when this shadowy figure says, you're going to be incarnated in the 520 AD or 540 AD, I'm like, what? And the only way that I can find that possible, because like I said, when I described those 100 lives, he may have been alive in 540 AD as something, right? Or a life is taking place that they finished their mission, okay, their contract, and that achieved Christ consciousness. So instead of abandoning a perfectly good vehicle, a body, he's going to walk into that body, okay, and take over. So he may have been a male in this life that he had, right? And this is something people mentioned to me too. Would you please talk about walk-ins? So this is I do believe this is what is taking place in his description of his NDE, is that he is going to walk into a female body after being a male in this lifetime that he had, that he died in his car crash, and he's going to walk into, which means that person that soul that was in that body, that female peasant girl, okay, left. Now he's going to walk into this perfectly fine body, but in his last one that died in a car crash, he's a male. Now his soul is going to walk right on in, just like when we come in as a newborn, and he's now going to finish out his contract in that moment. It's just in a different time, somewhere scattered across the universe, right? Okay, that's what, in my opinion, that's what is taking place when he walked into that different time. Technically he's going back in thousands of years into this girl, because that person, or that soul was done with their mission. They're done. They simply walked out of that body, and he, through his own death, was put into that body, because in that body he can still accomplish his mission, his contract, right? So instead of wasting a perfectly good vehicle, he just walked right into it. Okay, now that's going to cause a lot of problems, okay, especially with the family, and meaning his current family, or her family for that matter, because now he's, a female. His personality is different, or her personality is now different than the soul that was in there. I'm pretty sure he was, or she is, feeling out of place. The family's like, who are you? This isn't my daughter. This isn't my child. This isn't, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Walk-ins are very complicated, because the part of you that is in this body, the part of me that's truly me, is my personality. That's what's driving this body around. I'm not fully here. It's just like a little sprinkle of me is here. And that's my personality that I have gained over thousands of lifetimes. So that personality in that female is going to be different, completely different than what was previously there. And I'm sure that was a very hard assimilation, to get into. I mean, now in the modern world, now you've gone back in time to 540 AD. Good Lord, could you imagine? how hard that had to be if that's truly what was going to take place. And again, that is just my theory, and it fits, okay, as being a walk-in. So hopefully, to all of you that have had experienced, that, and somebody has mentioned me and contacted me through lightandlovejason.com, was a walk-in. His name was Eric. He died and was now walked into a female body. His soul entered a female body because that soul was done, accomplished what she needed to do, did not want to waste the body. So he walked right in. Now, we as a soul don't really care, but to those assimilating with this new person are going to notice a huge change. And Eric was his name. I'm not going to mention the female name, but he's struggling. He remembers being who he was. And now he's living the life of a middle-aged female body and was kind of upset about it. So that's really what a walk-in is. The non-physical just isn't going to waste the body. So one soul walks out, the other plops in, and away you go. And that's my theory on it. So I was just a little thrown off when I first read it. It's like, God is not going to appear in the void, even though the void is heaven, and he's not going to show himself as a shadow entity or a dark entity. No, not going to happen, not ever. God is love, God is light, period. End of subject. There is no in-betweens, there is no and ifs, none of it. God is love, God is light, and we are energy. Same thing as we are. So to wrap things up here, that we're not ensconced in what we would be considered an egg. We're in the universe. We're creating the universe as we speak right now. Even now, the universe is being created, expanded. And how is that happening? Through love, ladies and gentlemen, through love. The only thing that matters here is love. We are love. So I think he just didn't know how to explain himself in the egg theory. And that's how, in the only way that he could put it out there when he basically wrote about it. And he is right, though, that we are, we're not going to become a God. We are God. We are God. We are all gods down here in this physical realm right now. Make no mistake about it. He just didn't know how to word it properly, okay? So, but he was right. We come here to gain knowledge. So, while we're gaining this knowledge through all these experiences, and again, these experiences are not good or bad, right or wrong. They're simply experiences. All of us down here, I was a part of that, I am not now. We label things. We're a labeling society. And again, good, bad, right or wrong. Oh, that was fantastic. Oh, all right. Oh my God, that was horrible. Did you hear what? No, quit doing that, because what that is judgment, ladies and gentlemen. We do not have the right to be judged or to judge, because there is no judgment in the non-physical when we go home. And that was apparent as you can infer in his experience. There was no judgment. That entity was making a laugh. He's like, am I in heaven? He goes, yeah, you kind of died nonchalantly. Like it was no big deal. There's no judgment, okay? Do not judge, okay? I'm telling you that now. There is no judgment. So we are not to judge. That brings on sickness, cancer, health problems, diabetes, all of these things, okay? Do not judge, because that is what happens when we do. You have to look at things objectively, like when, I'll bring it out, the Hamas war started. I did not judge Hamas for launching the missiles. I did not judge Israel for the attacks. My heart sank. And I was like, please, we don't need to do this. Please stop. There was no judgment, though. I did not judge. I'm not judging the war in the Ukraine. My heart is breaking for both sides. All right? So that's what he was inferring when he was talking about his little short story about his near-death experience, which I believe everything that he said. I think it just came out the wrong way, because when you write about something, that's why it took me 2 years to talk about my NDE. I had to find out what had happened to me. I had to do research. I had to find the answers to what had happened to me. And thank God I was in an age right now where I had the technology that could allow me to do that. That this didn't just happen to me, it happened to millions of other people, including children. There's far less children that are talking about it because they think it was maybe just a dream, or they're frankly terrified to talk about it, like I was for 2 years. Nobody's going to believe me. So that's really it. That's my opinion on the egg theory, is that yes, he did die, but he was not talking to God. Without question, he's not talking to God. He was maybe talking to a guide, but if he was surrounded in darkness and black and asking this shadowy figure, that's not God. God is love, God is light. So we're just going to do a recap here, right? So he's in the void, and in the void, you create what is the void? It's pure consciousness. There is no physical realm. When you want to think of the pyramid, in the void, the pyramid is just going to appear right in front of you. Okay, so I think it was a guide, and I think it was a guide describing or just answering his questions, but it was not God. The belief in reincarnation, yes, when we signed up for this deal, and it's not just for Jason Janice's life and then that's it. No, when I'm done, I'm gonna go home, non-physical, right, heaven, gonna relax for a little bit, because being here is stressful. It's hard on our souls. It's hard. So we go home, recoup, and then if we take too long, Father's going to come up and say, hey, it's time, and into the next life you go. And where you end up in this life when you transition home, if you're way down on the totem pole here, in your negative energy and your negative beliefs and your belief in the Bible and everybody else is wrong and we're going to go to heaven, well, then guess what? In your next life, whether you choose to be a female body or a male body, you are going to start right back down there, maybe a couple steps up, and you're going to experience what you didn't finish, which is to climb up that ladder, to feel love, have empathy, and all of that, right? So you're not going to be a rock star. You're not going to be living the high life, You are going to finish, and you're going to keep climbing and gaining that knowledge, because that is the way you structured your life or how you wanted things to go. So I don't believe that he's going to incarnate, because I do believe he mentioned being a Hindu, where you start off as a clean slate as a baby. And in this case, that shadowy figure said, no, you're going to be a peasant girl in 540 AD. That's a walk-in, ladies and gentlemen. That person was done with their incarnation, and he just walked into that because he could finish up what he needed to do. That's all that is. And again, it's my opinion, all right? That's it. Don't take this as, a 100%, this is what Jason said, and, it's from my own beliefs and my own experiences that still keep happening to me. That is my personal belief. When he said that we're in constant an egg, and we're being nurtured and learning and all of this. The egg is the universe, okay? And yeah, we're in it. I have thousands of lives all over the place, taking place right now. Right now, versions of me, not what I look like, but versions of me are scattered throughout the universe, living right now as we speak, just as I'm speaking to you. That is absolutely correct. What he's saying is that we will be incarnated, but when we do come back as a start off in a new body, unless it's a walk-in, which say I got a freak accident and, I'm dead, body's way beyond repair. I may get tossed into a female body that's 7 years old, a female, and I may finish out my life there, and that may only be 3 or 4 years. We don't know when we're going to transition home, but that may happen, okay? And we're all for it, because you don't have a physical mind to weigh you down when you're on the other side. All right. So again, is that part true? Reincarnation? Yes. Did he experience a walk in? Absolutely. That's exactly what happened, in my opinion. Second, or the last, that when we're done learning and all this knowledge, we're going to become God. He got that part wrong, and I'll blatantly say it. We are all gods right now. We are all a direct manifestation of our Father, God. Love, light, and energy. So he got that right. He just worded it wrong. Okay? As we're incarnating, in our last incarnation, like Jesus, you become, you go home. You just don't ever come back and live another life. You've gained all that knowledge. You've done what you've set out to do. End of subject. You're going to live in an eternity of love and bliss and helping others when you're in the non-physical, which is what the non-physical is. It's a genie in the bottle. What you ask for will come true, but you've got to, raise that energy and get it. So what he was saying there is true. He just worded it very, very weird. But again, when you have an experience like this, it profoundly changes you. You have this instant knowledge of all of this stuff, and sometimes it's very hard to put it into words in this limited vocabulary. It's so difficult. And when he said it as being nurtured in an egg, it's kind of beautiful, right? We're all in this universe, which you can look at as an egg, but an egg, the universe is constantly expanding and growing. So that's my theory on it, ladies and gentlemen. That's my version of the egg theory. A beautiful near-death experience, but just definitely one was not talking to God, because he would be he would be in the light, he would be in love, he would, because never did he talk about the unconditional love, right? That we all NDEers experience. He didn't talk about any of that love. So when you're in the void, you don't get that. I did in my first out-of-body experience when I went home. When I was in the tunnel going home, and I was in the void, but I was going through the tunnel, and there was the light, a tiny little speck in a vastness of nothingness, right? He never talked about any of that in the egg theory. So again, he was in the void, and that was something his mind was creating instantly, and that's how he perceived his death to be, which is absolutely fine. I do not discount that in any way, shape, or form, okay? So, but the unconditional love wasn't there, and that's something that we all experience. Even Howard Storm, when he surrendered and raised his vibration, he felt home. He felt the love, and, he went home. He didn't. So it just leads me to believe that he was talking to something or someone other than God. But he had a lot of things that were correct, just didn't, in my opinion, word it correctly. We are all gods. We are all in this universe. We will incarnate again. We will start off in a new vehicle of our choice. We decide, well, I'm going to tell you now, I want to incarnate as a female next time. So why? I don't know. Just want to try it. I'm sure I've incarnated as a female many times, but being a male, let's try the whole female thing once again. But one thing I do want to make clear is that when he said that, one more thing before we go, I don't want to keep it too long. He said, in the Hindus' belief is as starting as a new child with a clean slate. Okay, that's not true. I need you all to understand that completely well when we'll label this as child abuse, right? You look at that, you give birth and you look at that brand new baby, and it's not a baby, it's just a new vehicle, right? That's how these vehicles come into our physical realm. We give birth, right? That being inside that new body, whether male or female, is not innocent. Okay? I need you to understand this. That being is not innocent. He came here to pick up where he left off. That might be working on his sexual energy, may want to try homosexuality, same sex, to learn more forgiveness and patience and blah, blah, blah. He or she has thousands of lifetimes. He's just in a new vehicle. Okay? So when you think that poor baby was abused, or when I've talked about my abuse. When I said, don't feel sorry for me, I understand it now. I chose it. I chose to join that family. I chose where and when. I could have been born in Russia. I could have been born in China, Great Britain, wherever. I chose my parents. I chose to jump into that abuse that you call abuse. Why? Because I wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't have had my NDE, and I wouldn't be able to discuss all of these things had I not experienced it. I don't look at it as good or bad, right or wrong. I'm thankful for that experience because I can help millions of other people who are suffering from the same thing, thinking they did something wrong when they didn't. That new vehicle is simply that. That body is new. What's inside it is not. Okay? And they're not innocent. They are going to experience what they came here to experience. Some of it might be a little horrific. Some of it might be beautiful. But make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, but that new being is not a new being. It's an ancient being, just like me, you, who has lots of experience that is still working on things they need to work on, and they will get them done. They will. So, that's just something that he talked about in the egg theory, that it's like, oh, Hindu, a new body, new being, clean slate. No. There is no clean slate. We pick up where we left off. We might have, for me, I climbed quite a bit up the ladder. So my next life, I can, I already feel it, that it's going to be a completely different life than I've lived here, which I'm thoroughly grateful for. But when I start off in a new body, I am not an innocent being. Okay? Make no mistake about that. You chose your life. You chose where you wanted to incarnate and be. Like those in the Hamas war, when that hospital got blown up, they chose to be there. That's where they chose to be born. They chose those experiences. Okay? That's it. And that's what he's talking about in the egg theory, is like, God, this familiar, this being said, no, this time, you're going to incarnate in 548. It's just, that's to me is a walk-in, and you're available, you're going to go do it. All right? Guys, I want to cut it off there. I don't want to keep it too long. I've already talked about it too much. I hope that answered some of your questions on this theory. And again, it is my opinion. No more, no less. Don't go to the bank and say, listen to this. I mean, if it reached you and it touched you deeply, put it in the comments. I listen to you guys. I get to you and as often as I can. And to some of you who have written me, I know I haven't gotten to you, and I'm sorry. I can only get to so many, all right? But I do read them, and I will comment on as many as I can. I do work a full-time job. This is a full-time job as well. My website, Love and Light Jason, is a full-time job. So I'm busy, guys. And I'm going to keep doing this. I love you guys so very much. Please put your comments down there on topics that you want to discuss. I will do my best to cover them, just like I did this one. Keep it positive. If you've got, I'm talking to all you negative people out there that want to come around to everybody's NDEs and, well, that's not right. Or you need to go to church. It's like, being an empath, I can feel it within the first 2 words. And again, I'm going to hide you from the channel, delete your comment, and nothing will ever be shown again. And I thank all of you again, because you've made this channel grow. You're, share the videos, share them with everybody that you think will learn from these things. Leave those positive comments. Again, I'm still struggling with whether I should do a live session. If you guys want to come into the studio, if I get it set up, if you want to talk, I'd be more than happy to. But you guys got to let me know if that's something you guys want to do. I can set it up on a weekend, like a Saturday morning, and we can roll with it. I think it would help you guys a lot. But again, I'm not going to do it if it's maybe. So we'll leave it at that. I love you guys so very much. I hope you all have a blessed and wonderful Christmas with your family, your children, and everything. I will do a video on my version of what I think about Christmas and why I don't celebrate it, and we'll just go from there. I love you guys very much. Thank you for watching. Leave your comments. Let me know what you want to talk about, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, I love you. Have fun. Bye.